Good. Up to now, we've learned the first 12 paragraphs in this speech given by Lubavitcher Rebbe in the beginning of 1992, very shortly before he had a stroke, which stopped his ability to speak. So these are very important speeches that the Rebbe is giving, especially because the Rebbe is the only leader in the whole world that actually has a comprehensive plan, totally comprehensive plan that takes God also into account of how to benefit the whole world, all of mankind, and each human being in the world. And that is by, first of all, clarifying and enabling the connection of every Jew to God through the Torah and its commandments, and increase the understanding of God and the connection to God and the love of God and the awe of God, because God is the creator, and explaining what this means, what are the implications of this. And that's especially what Moshiach is going to do. That's why the Rebbes, every one of the leaders of Chabad, are the Moshiach of the generation, to change the perception of all mankind about how important they are, how important every human being is, how important everyone is, how much God, the Creator, loves every human being, and how good the world is, that we don't have to think about going to heaven and do all these bizarre things, selfish things in order to go to heaven, and how close God is, how infinitely close God is, and how every word of the Torah, according to how the rabbis interpreted it, explained it, is true. So, but to be excited about it, that's the Rebbe wants us to be excited, because we're talking about not religion, we're talking about truth, life, reality, religion also. I mean, but mainly like the non-Jews have what's called 7 Noahide commandments. That's not a religion. That's just living with reality. There aren't rituals and and ceremonies and things like that. In fact, according to the Maimonides, it's counterproductive and even forbidden for them to make up their own religions. That they have to simply connect to the Creator. God's creating them, and just to connect to this amazing, wonderful, beautiful, positive fact. Okay, so what is the Rebbe saying? The Rebbe is saying, we can take an example from the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe was totally self-sacrificing for this goal, and especially to begin the Jew. The Jews have to get it together first. If the Jews don't get it together, then no one's going to know what God is. And basically, the confusion of the world is due to the fact that the Jews are not doing what they're supposed to. If they would do what they were supposed to, there would be less negative urges in the world to do bad things. And all these other bizarre religions that are basically, 50% death worship, going to the world to come, etc., that they would be unnecessary. They would simply be, how do you say, extraneous? That's a good word, extraneous. They wouldn't be necessary. People would feel the importance of this world right here, right now, and every moment would be a new challenge, a new opportunity, a new blessing. Every moment of life, people wouldn't be thinking about these bizarre things of conquering the world and going to heaven and making everybody think exactly like me. So that the idea is to convince. So what the previous Rebbe did, was he started to convince people. That's Chabad. Chabad is Chachma Bina Dat. Chachma means having the right concept of what God is. Bina means the right understanding of that concept. And Dat means the right connection to that concept of what is God and what God wants from us, and how beautiful and close and awesome God is, and we are. We're God's creations, and the world is. Okay, so this was the previous Lubavitcher. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he passed away in 1950, and the Hebrew date was Yud Shvat. Yud Shvat, in this year that the Rebbe was speaking, this year comes out on Shabbat. But this year, the Rebbe was, the day what the Rebbe was speaking, this was in the Tufshin, what is it, Ayin Beit? Huh? Yes. No. Tafshin Nun Beit. I'm sorry, I always get mixed up with the 70 and ayin. It's not so okay. So the Rebbe is speaking now. This is in Tafshin Nun Beit, Tafshin Nun Beit, which translates to be 1992. Oh, 1992. It says that year, this Yud Shvat came out to be on the fourth day of the week. When the previous Rebbe passed away, was actually on Shabbat. On Shabbat, people heard about it after Shabbat. So it says Yud Shvat, and this year comes out. But that year, when the Rebbe was speaking, it came out on the fourth day of the week, Wednesday. In Judaism, it's not. There's no names for the days of the week. There's names for the months, but the days of the week not. The day it so comes out, the days of the week are called the first day, second day, third day, fourth day. So it came out on the fourth day. And Shabbat, of course, is not called the seventh day. It's called Shabbat, and then you start over again. So there was the fourth day. If you look at the beginning of the creation of the world, God on the fourth day did something. Every day did something special. On the fourth day, what did he do? He made the sun and the moon. And of course, everybody's asking, which is really not important for us now, but it sort of is, how could there be days if there was no sun and moon? It says if God only created the sun and the moon on the fourth day, so it says that there was the first day, there was the morning and the evening, and the morning and the evening, and the evening and the morning, evening and the morning. It says that three times before that there was, how could there be an evening and morning if there was no sun or moon? So the answer to that is that the sun and the moon do not determine when morning and evening is. And the sun, morning and evening are a spiritual, godly force in the world. Darkness and light is a spiritual, godly force in the world. And that's how days are. Days are, first of all, concealment and then revealing. Concealment of God, that's called night, and revealing is day. On the fourth day, God just made a sun and a moon to show those times when those spiritual things are happening, because the main thing is how people react accordingly to those times and days, especially the Jews, how they want to know when Shabbat is, to know when the holidays are. So day and night existed before, but so it says on the fourth day, God nitlu amors, he hung up the sun and the moon. Now the word nitlu also means to take away. Also means to take away in Hebrew. Nitlu. In this case, it can mean both. Nitlu, of course, the Rebbe was taken away from us. He was taken away. He was physically, previous Lubavitcher Rebbe physically was not here. But on the other hand, nitlu, we'll see, means also, it says nitlu ha'ma'oros. Nitlu ha'ma'oros. What does it mean? Nitlu with a tough. It says nitlu means that they were hung up, and nitlu means to be taken away. But Yom Zeh Hayatah on that day, the 10th day of Shvat, was the departure, passing, if you want to call it, the passing away of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, nitlu ha'ma'oros, taken away. Of a lo ba'ofen nitlu, not in a way that it was taken away totally, ella miha nitlu, from that the alter Rebbe, that the Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, passed away, is immediately was made nitlu. There was already hung up, there was revealed the two big lights, sun and the moon, in a way which was much higher. You do it like by means of, as is known, by means of the passing away of especially of a person that was totally devoted to God, is nasa aliyah the giloi na'leyoter, that it's a higher level. Because how does it work this way? That's a very interesting thing. I mean, death, everybody dies, right? Everybody dies. We're going to die also, even though, maybe not. Here we are, we're doing pretty good up to now, so everybody else dies. Maybe we're not going to die, but that's not the way it goes. Everybody dies. That's the way God made. Since there's some people that were totally holy, they didn't do anything that brought death on them, but because Adam ate from the tree, so there's death in the world. And because the Jews sinned with the golden calf, there's death in the world. Okay, so that's how it goes. There's life in the dead. But the fact is that the soul never dies. This is not only a Jewish concept. The soul never really dies. So in other words, the soul is in the body and it's outside of the body. It's in the body and it's outside of the body. The thing is that when the soul is in the body, then it has free choice. And how it uses that free choice, the time that it's in the body, that determines the, how do you say, the completion of that soul. Every soul is created for a purpose. That's the creation of that soul. And if it doesn't fulfill that purpose, then it has to come back into the world and to be reincarnated again. That's what it says in Judaism. So it comes back. So it could be that the same soul comes back, but the soul remains the soul. The soul remains the soul. If a person was bad, so his bad personality, at least most of it, gets wiped out. So he doesn't remember anything, who he was, the bad things. And the good things that you do for God. So it also could be you don't remember because you're not doing things for yourself, you're doing it for God. However it works out, I don't really know. The little bit that I know is that's what I said. But the fact is, the soul is eternal, and the good deeds that a person does in this world are also eternal. So a person who's a tzaddik, like the holy people, so their good deeds, that's their whole being. So it's eternal. But where are they? Where are they? So it says those deeds, physical deeds that they do, they stand forever. They stand forever. So that's what it means that there's a revelation when a person passes away and he did properly, made the right choices in his life, then that day, because that's part of the creation, so that day becomes a day when all this energy is released. It's not confined anymore to his body. That's what it means. There is spread out the glory of God in all the worlds. Then, and then the soul of that tzaddik, of that righteous person, is found in all of the worlds more than when they were alive. Of course, all the worlds means essentially this world, but also all the spiritual worlds, also the whole entire creation is benefited. Because the tzaddik, they're living to give the creator pleasure. That pleasure stands forever. So the creator is creating everything. So everything benefits. By means of his chassidim, his followers, and his pupils, and those people that are attached to him. And that's now we're talking about the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Kineshamas begufim kan, that still remain here below, Bedor Tshi, in our generation, which is called the ninth generation from the Baal Shem Tov. Al derech, like it says, okay, the nifalu is brought about below also a completion of nitlo mo'oros, that God did not take away the Rebbe, but rather he revealed, like he displayed. Oh, that's it. Nitlu, he displayed the Rebbe. As Puridu, there is spread out and revealed all of the lights that the Rebbe did when in his lifetime are revealed here even more. Because when he was alive, he was limited to his physical body. But now not. Let's go back to this thing we had over here. What's that? One second. We just want a picture. Here we have a picture of the previous. Just so we know what we're talking about. We had a picture before. Here, this is the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Previous Lubavitcher Rebbe passed away when he was 70 years old in 1950. More pictures. See, next pictures. Previous Rebbe. More pictures. Okay. What did I do? What did I? Oh. Here are pictures. This is a picture of the Rebbe. Lubavitcher. This is the picture of the Lubavitcher Rebbe's of the fifth Rebbe of Chabad, fifth Rebbe, and here is the sixth Rebbe. That's the previous Rebbe that we're talking about, right? That's the previous Rebbe. Okay, back to the. So it says, but the Rebbe passed away. He hasn't got a body in this world, but we are his body. From this, it's understood novelty of our generation. Our generation is the ninth generation of all the generations before it from the Baal Shem Tov. Even the eighth generation, the generation of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, since that the Geula, the redemption that we're waiting for, that the whole world feels the Creator, and all the Jews are in the land of Israel doing what God wants, and this has not yet occurred. Bo el Paro. This is what we're talking about, that God said to Moses, come with me to Paro. And we said that Paro is, in its source, was a very holy thing, a Gilad revelation of all the highest lights even higher than those were revealed at Mount Sinai. And at Mount Sinai, the Jews couldn't take it. So but in the future, they will be. That's what the point of Baal Paro, that every Jew, God is speaking to them and saying, come with me to Paro. Come with me to the highest levels of godliness. Our generation, we can take these revelations. We can take these revelations. Up to now, it has not been this revelation, what God started when he took Moses into Paro, which we explained as this tremendously high levels, because he wanted a human being in a physical body to get these big revelations so that he could make it practical in the world. The world would feel these revelations of God. Well, this has not yet really come to its true fruition yet. This hasn't really occurred yet. And so therefore, because we see that the previous Rebbe passed away, his soul from his body, but Gam and Neshama B'Guf, also, and when he was, the previous Rebbe was alive, it says, he couldn't speak. Which is not the case in our generation. This is the last generation of exile, and the first generation of the redemption is made immediately nitlu oros. In our generation, there was displayed. Our generation is displayed, not taken away the lights, but displayed. Shalo zu, not only this alone, shalo chaser, that our generation is not lacking in these big lights and revelations of what it says, that the source of the written Torah and the source of the oral Torah, it says Moshe was covered lashon. We said El Adarabah, even more. No sefet b'zeh shlemos. Our generation, there's even higher revelation of the source of the Torah now. Lo b'ofen kaved peh, not in a way that it was hard of speaking. A raisa from the kaved peh, from the written Torah, from the oral Torah and from the written Torah. Not that it's difficult for us to reveal, but often in a way that us souls in bodies, makablim, we can receive the penimis from the inside of esprio kol horim, all of the highest lights that were hung up and revealed now. All the days by means of this should take it immediately. Megia Mashiach immediately will arrive. Mashiach Shalach Nobiat Shalach, and he will teach Torah to all of the Jewish people. And the Torah Hadasha Mi'ite Teitze. A new Torah will come from me. What does it mean, a new Torah? That everyone will feel that the Torah comes directly from God, and you can't do with the Torah what you want. And that's going to be in our generation. Okay, the Rebbe said this 30 years ago. So those people who want to say that the time has passed, so they have a lot to rely on. But in general, all of their evidence that they have, it comes from the world, and the world is not true. Is not true. We see nowadays how people go wild for false evidence. False evidence. We have there's huge rallies out on the streets for the Hamas. Huge rallies. Why? Because the Israelis killed 30,000, who knows, babies, whatever that is. Is there proof? Of course, the Hamas says so. So it's all false evidence. There's no proof, but everybody's excited about it. Maybe we can say that the reason for this tremendous, insane situation in the world, that people are willing to give their lives and to go into fight and for a total, obvious, ridiculous, transparent lie, is because that's what we do. That's what I do. You look at the world and you say, oh, the world is saying this, so it makes you depressed. It makes you angry. It gives you confusion. The world confuses us, but the world is false evidence. The world is not true evidence. That's what the Rebbe is trying to tell us. Don't take signs from the world about God. Don't take signs unless you learn how to look at the world in a positive way. And that's what Chassidut is trying to make us do. So here we have the Rebbe said 30 years ago that the world is already ready. And our generation is a generation where we can receive all these tremendous lights of godliness that they couldn't receive at Mount Sinai even. And you look and you see, but the world doesn't tell us this. So we're supposed to realize that the world is not telling us the truth. The world is not telling us the truth. The world is, how do you say, it's a optical illusion. Yeah. When we think that we realize that now the time has come, and any second it's supposed to arrive, and we're ready for it. This, because it now is becoming revealed what God began when he took Moses into Paro, which we explained. Paro is this tremendously high revelations of the creator of the universe, of the giver of the Torah, and we have the vessels to receive it. When we believe this and we think about it, and that any second it has to happen, this causes a completion and an elevation in all of the generations from before. By means of this, there will be the Yakitzu v'Yiranu Shochne Offer. They'll be waking up and rejoicing all those who are dead. Now, if you think about this, this is a pretty awesome thing. I mean, with Judaism, we got out of Egypt like 3,300 and what is it, something 27 years ago, we got out of Egypt. So since then, a lot of Jews died. And it's true that there's been a lot of reincarnations and incarnations. But still, a lot of Jews died. How it's going to be when they raise up from the dead, because the same soul could have inhabited a lot of different bodies. So we had a lot of different wives, right, in these different bodies. How it's going to work? Don't worry, God will figure it out. There's explanations. The Rebbe explained it also. No, it's not the time, but it's going to happen. All the good things from the soul will raise up. I mean, I'll just give you a small example. I remember I once saw a picture, this is a long time ago, which gave me an understanding what the raising of the dead was. There was a stuntman, a Halloween stuntman. And there was a picture of him with his family, a handsome looking guy, a healthy person, his family, a nice, healthy family. But somehow or other, he got into an accident. One of the stunts went wrong and he got terribly burned. And they had to do a whole series of operations on him. So he came out. So it ends up his face, after he came out, his face is all like melted. You know, he just has like these two holes where there are eyes in his mouth. I mean, they had to fix everything up. So, but I mean, the person didn't look, there was no resemblance between him and a human being, especially the way he was before. And nevertheless, the second picture shows him with his family and everybody smiling as much as he could smile. Same exact pose, right? But it's a different body. It's a different person. But they recognize that their father inside, that's his soul. They recognize that's who he is, right? So it's fine. And we can see even ourselves that people get older, right? A person leaves his parents. Let's say people in the Holocaust, they left their parents were in their 20s, and now they meet them later and their parents are in their 70s. Oh, they love them. They look totally different. So the body is not the thing that decides so much, but the soul is, and the soul is eternal. I understand this, I don't understand it, but that's the way it is. The soul is eternal. And it says that it's going to come up, but the thing is, in the future, the body is going to be the main thing. How this is going to be is impossible to know, but it will be. But the Rebbe is trying to say that by means of our deeds and our attitude toward God now, it's actually going to happen sooner. Ubala Hilul, and the first one to raise up from the dead will be the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. The novelty of our generation and regarding the previous generations is ruined before we can see, in fact, in our generation, in addition to the fact that it's incomparably higher, we're standing on all the good deeds of the previous generations, because good never goes away. Spreading out Judaism and spreading out Torah and Judaism and spreading out the ideas of Chassidut, there's a tremendous quantity. In addition to the quality of learning of Torah in the world, because we're learning now the ideas, the secrets of the Torah, there's also quantity, how much the ideas of Chassidut are spread out in the whole world until the outer places, that there's nothing further than them. Kadei, in order the Kabbalah, Oros Gedolim, Hein ben Nogei B'nei Israel, they are relevant to the Jewish people by means of the 613 commandments, or the non-Jews by means of spreading out, teaching them what's called the 7 Noahide commandments, 7 Noahide laws, 7 Noahide principles. Kach she'omrim at Kol Olam, the whole entire world. I'm sorry, Me'irim, that shines the whole entire world by means of the near mitzvah Torah, or the commandments and the light and the commandments and the Torah that the Jewish people do. The commandments are a lamp, and the Torah is the light inside of the lamp, and that illuminates the whole world. But often in a way that espiriu kol ha'orim, in a way that all of the lights, the source of all lights, can be revealed. Shekol echad, that each and every person will be able to receive the light in his soul in a healthy and a soul in his body being alive in a healthy body, until Sharoim Bapol, we can see actually, especially in the last generations. This is the Rebbe speaking in 1992, right? That all the nations in the world, in many countries, they actually help the Jewish people to serve God. Until Medina, even in Russia, that used to be closed and for many years, for 70 years, it was locked up. Nobody could go out. Nobody could leave. But lo natnu l'bnei Israel, they didn't let the Jewish people to go out from it, and they didn't even allow them when they were there to do Torah and the commandments in a free way. They wouldn't allow to gather together to do minyans and to learn Torah. They were those, but nevertheless, we see that this same country that was so opposing to God and to Judaism in last generation, they've changed from one end to the other. Now, not only that is they allow the Jewish people to do the Torah and the commandments, but even and allow them to go out whenever they want to. But even more, they actually help them to do Torah and the commandments. The problem is that, I mean, there still is free will, free will, and so Jews can do what they want. On until Sheroim Kiyom B'Pol, we see actually, but no that the Jewish people are all prepared for the future redemption. Even the non-Jews, they're also prepared. The Jewish people should already go out from the exile, and they should go to the land of Israel in the Gula Mitit Vashlema. In the true redemption. And we see a very interesting thing, and the let's just finish this. The neshama's souls and bodies, without any delay whatsoever, immediately we can come to Boel Paro. What does it mean? That God will come to us to Paro, which was Paro is the opening up of all the revelations of our Creator and the giving of the Torah, and a complete revelation and a complete redemption by means of espiriu kol ha'orim, that Hashem lecha v'haya lecha havaya la'or olam, and then God will be the light for you, for all, for you and for the whole entire world. We see a very interesting thing going on now, that the whole world is saying the Jews have to get out of Israel. The Jews have no place in Israel. Jews have to, from the Mediterranean Sea until the Jordan River, Jews are out. Nothing to do with Jews. What do the Jews say? Come on, be nice, Say, no, you are a bunch of murderers. You're killing our children. 1 second, but you killed us. I mean, it's on movies. No, you did the movies. You have no place in Israel. Now it's even more. You got Jews have no place in the world. The Jews are bad everywhere. They're heckled everywhere they go, no matter what. Okay, so what's going on over here? It seems to me very clear what's going on. That they're trying to force the Jews to say to themselves, really, why are we in Israel? Why do we have to be in Israel for? What's the point? I mean, if the whole world is against us, and they're all saying that we've got no place in Israel, and even the places that say that we do have a place in Israel, they're saying, okay, take half of Israel, make certain concessions, come on, be nice guys. And even our government, the government in Israel, is saying, yeah, we're willing to make concessions, we're willing to go halfway, we're going to 50-50, to 25-75. The United Nations, they're the ones that they'll fix things up. And what's supposed to be, what it's really supposed to be. The Jews are supposed to come and say, hey, what are we doing all this stuff for? I mean, the fact is, the reason we want the land of Israel is because we're Jews. And God gave the Torah, the land of Israel, to the Jews. We're in the Torah. Suddenly, Jews start to come to their sense, hey, I'm a Jew. I never would deny that I'm a Jew. And they want me to deny that I'm a Jew. Somehow this being a Jew has a connection to this physical plot of land. And the Arabs, they're all going crazy for this. And they got so much land. What do they have to have this specific land for? Why do they care this land? I mean, you know how big these other countries are? The countries are like 50 times, I don't know, 100 times as big as Israel. They've got so much land. Why can't, what's going on over here? Why? And why is everybody against the Jews? Why? What did we do? What did we do wrong? Why did everybody hates us? What this collective guilt because we fought back, or even if we started. The Germans started World War II, right? Now everybody's forgiving the Germans. Who nobody hates Germans today, right? There's no collective guilt. Jews, oh no, what's going on over? Why? So the answer is come back to your senses, reveal who you are. That's called tshuva. Go back to who you really are. You're a Jew. Why are you a Jew? Because it says in the Torah that the Jews are the sons of God. Sons of God doesn't mean a religious sense like that other religion twisted it around. Sons of God means that you are the example of the creator of the universe in the world. You're telling everyone that there's a creator. And you're telling everyone that the creator is good. And that the creator not just creates people, it creates the land of Israel. That's called holy. And that the whole world is trying to push us to say, okay, I'm a Jew. I'm connected to God. I was chosen by God. The land of Israel belongs to me because I was chosen by God, and the land of Israel was chosen by God, and the Torah was given by God, and God is not far away. God is infinitely close to us. God is, we say, Ein Kelokeinu, there's nothing like our God. The God the Jews worship is not the same God that these other religions worship. It's not the same God. Their religion, they worship some God who's far away. Right? He's far, 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 far away. He's not close to us. He doesn't care what we do. Doesn't care for each person. Our God cares about each and every person. He's infinitely close. He cares about everyone. He's creating everybody. And that's what we have to reveal. That's what's called holy. The holy land, the holy people, the holy Torah, the holy commandments. Holy means alive. It means happy. It means awesome. Okay, from this, we can understand now, especially in our generation, Bo Paro, what does it mean, come to Paro? To overcome upon, we spoke many times. Shekavar Kolo Kitzim, that all of the ends have already arrived. We finished everything. This redemption of the Jewish people and the gathering, the awakening of all the Jewish people and gathering them all to the land of Israel where Moshiach will already have built the temple. It says the third temple is going to come from heaven. The Mashiach will build the temple and then he'll gather all the Jews together. This should have happened a long time ago. Because all sorts of reasons which are not understandable at all, nevertheless it has not come. From this we can understand that at least now, now the redemption has to come, take up on Miyad Mamash immediately, but like the world says, this is the highest time. We have reached the pinnacle, Hechste Zeit in Yiddish. This is the highest time. For the Geula Shlema, this is it. And this the Rebbe said 30 years ago, so for sure it's now. For sure it's now. But let us to comment. What does it mean? Zman hasi. What does it mean? The highest. Now we are in the highest times. Hechste Zeit, the highest time. This hints at the whole idea of the geula, that the time itself, hakasher and medida v'agbala, which time is a limited thing, past, present, and future, will become ha-zman, the time. Hachinayla. We'll realize that every second is the most important time. But often in a way, that there's nothing above it. Kolomar, in other words, shahagvul, that limited time itself, nasa beligable, will become unlimited. Ad often in a way, shehem mitachdim mamash, they are totally unified. Like we said before, many times, as Priyo Kolon Horim, there is spread out all of the lights of God. Exactly the opposite. Ikar Hadgasha, the main emphasis on this is ala gavul shel zman gashmi. We're not trying to get out of limits. We're not trying to get out of the world. We're not saying that the world is bad. We're saying that the world, if it is very conducive to make the wrong conclusions, that we can think that the world is a separate thing. But the fact is that the world and time, even though those are things which drive people crazy, right? I haven't got any time. A person is other person. The time has passed. He gets all depressed. He gets all full of lust and full of anxiety and things like that. From time, can be our biggest enemy. But the world for sure can be our biggest enemy. What's the question? Right? I don't have money in the bank, and this person is sick. This person that. But the fact of the matter is the time itself is the biggest miracle there could possibly be. Every instant of it. Every instant of time is really infinite. And we can see that now ourselves. There's this idea in time, which is called now. Now, right now. When is right now? Now, 1 second. You just said that a minute ago, that now is now. Let's forget about what you said before. When is now? Now, you just finished saying that now. I'm talking about this moment. What do you call this moment? Now. You can't call this moment now, and you call the minute before now. What is now? Because now is eternal. Now is always going. Now is real. Now is a reality. And in fact, that's God's name. Hoveh means now, and Yud means constant. God is constantly now. When we see that, then we will start to understand that time, even the past things that we did, are also now. It's part of the now, but the now will be a bigger now. So that's what it means, that the physical time, because God wants there to be a world. The main stress of Judaism is not the spiritual, but the main is the physical world. Ki baruchnius and spiritual, to the highest levels of spiritual, there's already completion. It's already completed. And it's already, the redemption is there spiritually. The things spiritually of the Jewish people, the spiritual eyes of the Jews, we can understand that the redemption is here. Now we have to fix this up in the physical world. Shigam Haim, that the physical world, even the non-Jews, will see this idea of the Geula as it is in a revealed way to all flesh and at all time, especially this time now. We can move on like it's understood. Also simply, the main request and our longing for the redemption is not so much because of the spirituality. Spirituality, God, free us, let us go into the upper worlds, let us, right? Ki mitzada ruchnis, the spiritual worlds, our and yanim of the matters, spiritual matters, they're already complete. Everything is already whole. Like it says, every Jew, his soul is complete. That's the idea of tshuva. Tshuva means you just return back to your soul. Your soul is always healthy. Even Professor Viktor Frankl, that he is not talking to the Jews, he's talking to all people. He says that the source of mental and emotional health comes from your soul. It's inside of you. It's already there. Every person essentially is healthy. I said the healthiness is to be able to meet the challenges of life, to be able to appreciate life, to be able to create things in life, to add something to the world. That's already always healthy. The ability to do this, and that's talking about non-Jews. For a Jew, for sure, the soul is always okay. That's not the problem. Is the soul? The problem is the body, the world. Hagam, even though that a Jew has found his soul in a body and he's in this physical world, but because the soul, it doesn't feel the darkness of the world, the soul, which is not the case. The idea of the physical world, the physical things in the body, as Haim Be'ikar Nirgash, we can feel that we can feel that the physicality conceals over the truth. It conceals over the world. We think that it conceals over the soul. So we think all there is a world. So therefore, this arouses when a person thinks, he feels inside. My soul feels that there's God. My soul feels that the world is good. My soul feels that God is close. That every human being is good. But I don't see it because my body. Therefore, this arouses a longing for the future redemption when we'll see and feel the truth here in this physical world. The novelty of this redemption is that the Gilui, that the revelation that God gave to Moses when he took him into Paro, all these lights were revealed, will be in the physical world. That appears to the physical eyes in an actual physical place and a physical time. Sheyasa Dira, that will make from this world a dwelling in this physical world. The goal is not to go to heaven. The goal is this physical world to reveal what it really is. But exactly the opposite. And this, mipatesa shlemos, is the completion of the spiritual. Therefore, in the future, the soul, it says, will actually be nourished from the body. The body will be will be more spiritual, more godly than the soul is. Because the body was in this world, and the body, you could make free choices when you're in the world. And the choices, that's the main thing about why God gave the Torah, to encourage us to make the right choices. And to me, constantly there's urges and forces and the situations that try to force us to make the wrong choices. Or there's ignorance, there's lack of education. We don't know that there's even a possibility to make a choice. Because of this, the main thing, the physical that we want, that we're longing for, that we're working for, is that there should be revealed godliness in this physical world. And then there will come a redemption. It says not just in this physical world for the Jews or whatever, but all of the worlds, all of the levels. Okay, what are we supposed to actually do? See how we can. What are we supposed to actually do? Then now we are on the days of the preparation for Yud Shvat, which is going to be on Shabbat, the day of the passing away of the leader of our generation. When there is added an extra elevation in the leader of our generation, namely the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, there's an elevation in all the work that he's done. So whatever. What happened? I erased it. I didn't want to do that. 1 second. Just got a little bit too sure of myself over here. Here we go. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. I just have to go back to here. Here. Don't give up. 1 minute.
Hold on, just.
I'm starting to learn how to deal with this thing. Here we go. Okay. Yes. Oh. Yes, okay. What are we supposed to do? Now that we are on the days of the preparation for Yud Shvat, the day of the passing away of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, so like we said, there's also an additional elevation in the Rebbe himself. It says every year, the anniversary of his passing away, says the soul receives an elevation, and by means of this, it also gives an elevation, more inspiration to all the people of the generation, the women and the children of the generation, so there as well. So each and every Jew in our generation, men, women, and children, have to accept and make resolutions, good resolutions regarding everything that the previous Rebbe demanded from us. First of all, beginning with Ner Mitzvah Torah Or. We have to do more learning of Torah, written Torah, and oral Torah, Talmud, Mishnah, Halacha, and also doing the commandments in the best, most, important way, that it's important to you. The commandments become important, that you want to do it in the nicest way. You have tefillin, have your tefillin checked. You have your tefillin cost you $200, buy tefillin for $500. You have for $500, buy for $1,000. That's pretty much the top. Maybe now it's a little bit different. $1,500. I think the most expensive tefillin you can buy are like $2,000, and they'll last you your whole life. They're the best. Yeah, the best. It's not too much. People spend much more than that on a television set or a car or who knows what. I don't know how much a television set costs, but people spend much more of that on a new table or something for here's tefillin. I wonder if you should spend the candle sticks that you light on Shabbos should be the nicest ones. Your talis, your tefillin, give charity a little bit more regular, whether regarding to yourself or others. And the idea you should spread out, not just learn yourself Torah, spread out Torah, invite other people, to learn with you, spreading out Judaism, spreading out the ideas of Hasidut in a way of Bo El Paro, that every single Jew should be a vessel to receive these high lights of godliness from the two great lights we said before. What are the two great lights? The written Torah and the oral Torah, the revealed Torah and the hidden Torah, including especially learning the Torah, the ideas of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe himself, and following after his instructions. All this is stressed. That each person should accept on himself that he learns the Torah, the ideas of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. And if you don't know what this is, go to your local Chabad house, and they'll tell you the wonderful, beautiful ideas. And a lot of the ideas of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe are very user-friendly. It's very easy to understand, and he explains things very, very well. The previous Rebbe, then a person this will complete and fill also what is lacking in the spreading out of Torah because of all sorts of strange, delays, and especially in the power of speech of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Right, the last years of his life, he was unable to speak. This is by means of learning, by bringing these ideas into speech and spreading the mayanot, the deep secret, the deep ideas of Hasidut outward to others. Even more detail, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he devoted himself to every type of Jew, according to that type of Jew where he was found. Like we saw, the story I told you yesterday, seeing the face, the happy face of the Rebbe, that the Rebbe showed. I showed you the picture. I'm sort of afraid to go back there because I lost the thing. Let's try it again. I'll try it again. Oh, see, Rebbe, the previous Rebbe had a very happy face, despite the fact that he went through all sorts of terrible. Here, see, this is a picture. There's another better picture. He went through here, this beautiful picture here, that he went through so much torture and things in his life. Let's see if we can make it bigger. Are we able to? No. Here, this picture here. All right, just keeps getting the same picture, but a very happy face that the previous Rebbe had, and despite all the tortures and terrible difficulties that he had. So he also devoted himself to every different type of Jew that there could possibly be. He said, especially women and the girls and children. This was a new thing. Even though we found usually big rabbis, so their pupils are people who learn Torah, males, men. Even though that we see there were also other great Jews and leaders in the generations which were before, but nevertheless, this was not acceptable by everybody. And even though they did do it, it wasn't. It was always done with many, many limitations, which is not the case the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. In this, he spread out and reached by teaching also women and children. He reached the furthest parts of the world, and it continued. By means of this, there was an incomparable amount of learning, quantity of learning Torah to the women and girls and children even. From this, there is a teaching that we have to strengthen and Yud Shvat. We have to strengthen our attachment to Yud Shvat, the day that the previous Rebbe passed away, and consequently, a year later, the same date, our Rebbe took over. Right, this is the day when the Rebbe he took over being Rebbe. It has to be with all of the types of Jews, men, women, children, all types of Jews, and the Fiyinyano, Jews that don't know anything, Jews, especially on the girls, women, and the girls and children. In addition to their service on themselves, they have to also be you have to influence also all the people of your household, women, children, etc. The unique thing about children is you have to educate them little by little, according to their abilities, in a way that they'll be able to receive. Or in the language of the Torah, she Yosef heichin lechem lefiatav. It says that Yosef at Tzaddik, that he prepared bread, food according to the mouth of the children. In other words, a little baby, you can't give him a steak. You have to give him a little bit of a milk, a little bit. When he gets a little bit older, then you give him a little bit of pablum or something like that. But Nosef, in addition to this, the nature of a child is that he scatters around his food. That by means of this, the food can also reach others that on their own they can't receive more than just little tiny. So therefore, it says sometimes there's even a law in milk and meat that says that there's some mothers that their children are so small they want them to eat, let's say something, so the mother chews it up first and then she gives it to the child. So it's the same thing. Some children, you have to chew the food up, you have to chew the Torah up first, and then you give them a little by little. By means of this, also the same thing with the women, not just children, but also with women and girls. Among the commandments which are given to women and to girls is the idea of lighting Shabbos candles and Yom Tov. That this is one of the big novelties of our generation, the new things, that's added on a tremendous increase in numbers of girls and women that light Shabbos candles. And by means of this, it shines also their house and the world. Like it says, Ner Mitzvah V'Torah, or in a way that they're spread out all the... An interesting thing by the Jews, there's a special thing called Shabbat. Now, really, non-Jews are not allowed to keep Shabbat. Non-Jews are not supposed to keep Shabbat. 7 Noahide commandments are not the same thing as the 10 commandments. The 10 commandments are only for the Jews. The non-Jews also have, a lot of those commandments are repeated in the 7 Noahide commandments. But the non-Jews are not commanded to keep Shabbat, and in fact, they're not allowed to keep Shabbat. Because what's the idea of Shabbat? Shabbat is a day when we remember that there's a creator. And especially we remember that there's a creator in the creation. And that the creation is different from the creator, but it's not separate from the creator. The creator is creating everything. So really the whole business is just creator. And that's on Shabbat. We don't do certain things on Shabbat. We don't do. Shabbat is a day of rest because it's reminding us that everything we are, everything we have, and everything we've accomplished, and all of our talents, it's all a gift from God. It's all a gift from God. That's the first ones to usher in the Shabbat are the women when they light the candles. And the whole idea is to make light. This shines up the whole entire house. That's the whole idea of Moses, God telling Moses, come with me into Paro, which is not the case. Other commandments, they can be in a way that one commandment is different from another one. Like the language of Malayim mitzvahs karimon, a person is filled with mitzvot like a pomegranate, it says. A person could be filled with commandments, but they're different one from the other. But not the case of lighting candles. Lighting candles, the light fills everywhere. It goes everywhere. According to this, we can also understand how it is that by means of Nerot Shabbos Kodesh, by means of lighting candles for women and girls, that was added in doing the commandments of all of the people in your household. Also, the husband and the boys. The fact is that the husband, men are supposed to also light candles. If there's no women to light candles like boys in the yeshiva, they also have an obligation to light candles. But if there's a woman, the woman lights the candles. She's the one first. Like I said, the light of the candles is the opening up, the beginning of the whole idea of Shabbat for all of the people of the house. And only after that, there come all the prayers of Shabbat and Kiddush of Shabbat. And by means of this, it's even more, like it says in the Gemara, that by means of lighting the candles of Shabbat Kodesh, is we merit to having sons, children that are Torah scholars. Like it says, Ner mitzvah, if you do the mitzvah of the Ner of lighting candles, then Torah, or that by means of doing the commandment of lighting candles, is there comes learning Torah. We can also say that this is also hinted at the numerical value of Ner. 250. This is the 248 positive commandments, which are permeated and conducted by means of the two emotions of love and fear. In general, we can learn from all this that the service of a Jew has to be in a way of spreading out light, reaching the essence of light and spreading it out. Shekol Metziuto, that the whole essence of a Jew should be permeated with the lamp of the commandments and the light of the Torah. Excuse me, and the Jew does his service with a healthy soul and a healthy body, just like the Kohen Gadol, like the high priest, that he said he has to be totally complete when he goes into the Holy of Holies. And even if the Jews, even if there are hefsek v'yurida b'rega, even if there are Jews that temporarily, and there are times when temporarily you don't feel godly and you don't feel holy, you don't feel any light, or it could be maybe in the family, maybe there is missing a father or a mother, God forbid. Why? Because the redemption is still not come. But nevertheless, this is what's called a descent for the sake of an elevation. In order to get to the highest levels, Bo'al Paro, namely souls, Haim B'neshama, whether in the soul, and the main thing, and the members of your household, the men and the women, that they should see and they should feel the drawing down and continue to do the service of doing things in their lifetime in a ruach and a spirit she is permeated by means of their education, by zarum b'chaim, by, it says, by when the offspring of the Rebbe, the pupils of the Rebbe are alive, so that keeps the Rebbe alive. Just like the Rebbe was total holiness, is when we do follow the instructions of the Rebbe, especially doing more Torah, more commandments, being more special, spreading out goodness to others, is by means of this. This makes it that's the body of the Rebbe keeping alive. And in general, by means of this is added even more that the soul is is called a rose. Shushan is a rose, and this receives from God that God is called Shushan. Shushan, that's the masculine, Shushana. On until Shanasa, there's a total unity. See, the Jewish people and God are completely one. You look at a Jew and you know that God exists. May it be God's will. By means of just receiving, making these resolutions on Yud Shvat, including that every person should do all of the customs that are connected with Yud Shvat. You light a candle, you participate in a Farbringen, you listen to the Maimor of Yud Shvat that's read out, make good resolutions, like we say. First of all, making Farbringens, Hasidic get-togethers that they make in every single place, in the week before and the week after, and even before this, there should be Hikitzu V'Ranu Shochnafer. Even before Yud Shvat, this coming Shabbat, which is just in a few hours, it should be the raising of the dead, and the first Rebbe will be the first one at the head, and immediately there will be, like it says, mamash, really. The meaning mamash means mamash, actually, physically, like the tzaddikim, they will raise in the raising of the dead immediately. And we'll be able to rejoice together with the Rebbe the day of his passing away. He'll be here. And immediately will be B'shalach Paro at the next week's Torah portion, that Paro himself will send the Jewish people out of exile. All the Jewish people will go out, biyad Rama, with a high raised hand, with an upraised head, and then we will go from the exile, and we'll go to the land, holy land, to the holy city, to the holy mountain, to the holy temple, the third temple, to the Holy of Holies, and God will be the King forever and ever. That is the Dvar Malchut for this week. 1 minute.
Sounds like a good dream.